The way to think of it is like you're in a small pioneer village, and it's time to do a barn raising. Well, you know, like you just can't raise your own barn. It's like it weighs like 800 pounds or 2,000 pounds of wood. You know, you need all your buddies up. You pull on the cord to get the tilt up the end cap of the barn. But you can all go to each other's houses and do each other's barns. There's a certain communal nature to this thing. So the users of maps worldwide, any kind of maps, could be the local expert on my road is closed, my fire plug is leaking, my street lamp is out. You know, they know those things. All they've been looking for is a way to say that. And I told you that. We built that, and I can tell you it's working. And so I think it's a very important thing to realize. The other thing we like to do is to get data, or this change, and we like doing it, is, building this infrastructure to get edits is actually very inconvenient. Much more convenient is this one. So you go to the USGS, and you say, I want to see about real-time earthquakes. You click on the link, and you see it happen in Earth or Maps or whatever. And Virtual Earth can do KML, so you can do it there too. Here we have the Esri web page and its instructions. If you want to publish some data, here's how you make network links and publish that out. Well, that's really good. And it says, there's the 3 steps, and one of the steps is put it on a server. You know, you got to have a public-facing URL, basically. And same thing as all the fires live. You can click and get all the live forest fires in Canada. Or you go to the data.gov, go to the White House, basically. All the GIS data, you can click on the KML there. So you might say, well, how much KML is there? And when the first time I talked talked about, look, we need an HTML for the web, for the GeoWeb. We need a way to make data that's really usable, and it has all the kind of presentation capabilities that are necessary. And we had one, KML, Keel Markup Language. We gave that to OGC. OGC refined it and made it a real standard. That's really proliferated real well. I want to talk to you about some news that nobody knows. You're the first to know this. This is pretty interesting. So we asked ourselves, well, how much of this is there? Well, it turns out there's 250,000 websites, public-facing websites, hosting KML content right now. Okay, so that's not all that many. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not, it's not all that many. Those websites collectively have 500 million KML files on them. That's a lot. So if you're good at multiplication, you can figure out how many that is, and that's about 2,000 files per website. That seems to be about the average, 2,000 files. You know, the Vancouver may have 2,000 things they publish, and Nanaimo would have like 4,000 things they publish, because Nanaimo's like surreal excitement about that. But in general, about 2,000 per thing. And then those are, of course, files that have folders and points and lines and data in them. And altogether, it's about 2 billion place marks, some of which could be photographs, some of which could be lines, some of which could be road string, some of which could be polygons. So to me, this is the sort of symbol of a thundering of an avalanche. I know you got 2 billion, you first got 500 million edits on some sites we built, and then you got much more, 500 million complete files with 2 billion edits, so to speak, data points, on other people's websites. So that's kind of the dichotomy there between things that people will do kind of not for you, but kind of inside your environment for their own benefit, things they'll do in their own environment for their own benefit. And this is, I think, the success of the Geoweb. I mean, this isn't something they did for Google. They don't care about us. They care about their data. They care about sharing their data. And so whatever their tool was they used, they knew they could share it. That's how important sharing of data is. There's 2 billion things people are sharing in the last 4 years, right? That's pretty good. That's a lot. But actually, people can do even more for us than that. Okay. This is a little video I made of Street View. I just didn't know if I have internet. So I don't know if you noticed, but you can drag the cursor around in Street View now, and it puts a little square or circle on the picture, so you can see like the slope of the facade of the building, and it tilts. So yeah, how's that possible? Well, there's lots of ways you can do that, and one way to do that is to get LiDAR data, or laser scanner data as you drive down the street. Another way is to use multiple photo pairs. What we did with that, what we had in mind all along we bought Panoramio, is, say, here's a street. I click on this picture. Those are all the pictures that we could match up the picture with the image of this from Street View. So these are pictures from Picasso Web or pictures from Panoramio that have the same building in it as the Street View picture. So we have a Street View picture, and you see some kind of carved, complex thing happens to be the Trevi Fountain. You didn't know that, but you find other pictures on the web that look like the Trevi Fountain, and you match them together, and you get a high correlation. Then the the world can implicitly become an index mechanism for other people's snapshots. And of course, if I was going to go to Andorra, I would go to Google Earth. I wouldn't go to the tourism office. But if I go to the anyway. But this is a navigating in Paris where we drive a truck with the cars and laser scanners. We get the building shape and we get the picture. We can use that to strongly correlate random pictures blindly against that database and place them in position. You click, you can see all these pictures. There's tens of millions of pictures already geocoded like that against the database, the visual database. And you could think, as there are many, many more pictures than that, each time you put one picture in place, it's easier to put the next picture in place because you have more high-res details to tie it to. So I think you should expect in the next few years, I mean, I promise you, you will see, and you should count on basically everybody's digital camera to take a picture through Wi-Fi or WiMAX that just goes up to the cloud somewhere, and it's geotagged automatically, and it's available by searching, by just going to that place and looking. You should expect that to be business as usual. To change, to current thinking. And the thing is, there's a huge amount of spatial orientation structure data in all those pictures, in their multiplicity. There's not a good photographic opportunity. It's not really pretty because of different times of day and stuff, but it's very, very valuable. So I want you to look real closely at these three videos here. They'll go in parallel, so you got to watch really. It's like a three-ring circus. Each little black thing is a frustum from a camera taking pictures in Dubrovnik, up there in the Plaza San Marco and inside of St. Paul's Cathedral. The pictures are compared and contrasted. Eye points are figured out, and from the eye points being figured out, the meaning of the picture is done. There's a synthetic stereo construction, and you basically can reconstruct those buildings from that. There's a wall around Dubrovnik, and when you take pictures from there of the city, it just so happens that you get the rooftops and the hills in the background. You even get the terrain of the nearby islands. So that kind of image reconstruction from just 8,000 pictures with no guidance at all, no geotagging, is a current reality. Okay? Obviously, it's made much easier if you have Street View cars driving around and if you have other people's pictures stuck. This is just a big stack of pictures out of Flickr, thought about, and then come up with that city model. So once again, the pace of data collection, doing it the right way isn't going to get any faster, but doing it all of these other ways is really changing the whole meaning of that. So as a summary here, and if we get that in time, I have two goodies for you, but anyway, what does it mean? So if you just want to read the Cliff's Notes version of my talk today, here's the basic idea. Information is actually a powerful agent of defense and growth for open democratic societies. It's the democracy breathes information. Likewise, it scares more repressive societies where there's a desire to control people against their maybe own self-choice. The easiest way to control them is to remove their knowledge of the thing that will make them unhappy. So if you're in the information business, you're going to have friends, most of the people in UN, you're going to have enemies, a couple of them. And that's just the way it is, and that's okay. Second point is the rate of change itself is accelerating. Okay? The normal pace of change in everything, in the technology of your shoes that has holes in it, the Geox shoes that breathe, and the technology of the tent if you go camping, or sleeping bags, NASA stuff inside there. Whatever it is, that pace of change is significantly accelerating. It's accelerating so much that the meaning of having a college education and then having a career afterwards is really at the last time of that now. You won't be able to do much useful if you don't take 2 or 3 more, like 2-year refreshers in the time frame of your children. That's the significance of the pace of change. And I think that matches all of the things we build too. Continuous change, as in, why is Google stuff always in beta? What's wrong with those guys? Okay? The truth is, that's the new normal. I promise you, the software that's shipped every 3 years and software that's shipped every 3 days, 3 years from now, one's going to be better than the other one. It's axiomatic. And if the changes are little teensy ones, you never notice, and so there's never this big change thing. People can and will map their world, and they'll do so carefully, usefully, in a way that's really valuable. I've proven that to my satisfaction, and maybe to yours. You should at least if you disagree, you should check it out.